Welcome to a chat with Uncle B, coming from Yummy B TV, and with me today is Brendan Hyde.
Nice to see you, Samson. We're outside we're in a little bar, just not drinking, but just filming. We're going to go over at the Royal Courts of Appeal.
Uncle Yummy, water.
It's on the water. We're going to go over at the Royal Courts of Appeal. We're just over the road. We're going to do a little chat about something that happened 25 years ago, a miscarriage of justice that happened to me, and I really wanted to come out on that day when I was 20 years old, 21, and have a say about what had happened, but there was no media there, nothing there. So we're going to sort of go and do that now. I know it's 25 years late, but better late than never.
But over the years, these courts of appeal, right here, many miscarriages of justice, when other people have come out of those courtrooms, there's a big entourage waiting to be asking questions about those miscarriages. Dale came out, there's nobody there. How did he feel as a youngster? Uncle Yummy explores this today and his side of the story about what happened, what's factual, what's fictional. Dale gives his side of the story today, and Uncle Yummy says, on Yummy B TV, we do it fairly and properly. All sides of the coin. Some people it doesn't work out for, ladies sometimes, but also it's not only the women that have to suffer as well. Uncle Yummy likes to be fair. Sometimes it is the men. Though very rarely, this one is a rarity, like many others that are rare along the years, if you get what I mean. This one again, proven to be not guilty. So Del, right from the beginning, let's start from being a youngster.
Yeah.
That night out. Let's go right from the very top.
Yeah, so just again, without going into every detail, like it's in the book stitched, it's, the book's out there on Amazon if anybody wants it. Just give Yummy a copy there, signed copy.
Right.
We've got it there, upside
right.
down, which like my head was
Acclaimed,
at the time.
Acclaimed as well.
Head was upside
Great
down.
writer.
So yeah, just again, like I say, to break it down very simply, simplify it. A night out, no big deal. Sunday night out, bumped into a girl. I'd slept with her before, probably about 3 weeks before. Got chatting to her again in a nightclub, pretty empty, like I say, a Sunday night. I was with a friend, kind of thought, yeah, we'll move on, I wasn't really bothered about going with her again. Thought, well, like I said, we're 20 years old at this point, you know what you're like when you're 20, you're like, young man about time. So, we were like, oh yeah, we might catch up with you later. She was like, oh well, if you want to come to my house later, I'll be back. And anyway, so we shut off and went for a few more pints and had a look round, and chatted to other girls, and wasn't really, like I said, it was just a Sunday night, wasn't really out looking to pull a bird or like to find a relationship or anything like that. Anyway, long story short, ended up thinking, right, all right, nothing's happened, we'll go down there. Kind of in my mind again, so I thought I knew, well, I have slept with her, I wasn't intending my friend to sleep with her. I thought, well, maybe like I'll sleep with her again if it develops that way. Again, it wasn't really the intention, like, yeah, definitely. It wasn't like I knew it was nailed on, but I thought, well, I have slept with her before, so I'll go down there and, see what happens. You've had a couple of pints, you like I said. So went down there, ended up like, in the house.
Whose house now?
The girl's house, yeah, the girl's house. Her friends had dropped her off outside. Like I said, we could go over every detail, do you know what I mean? Like if I went to the first sort of point in the case, she sort of said that when she arrived back at home, she was surprised that we'd turned up there, do you know what I mean? Even though she'd invited us there, she said that these two girls that had dropped her off, they sort of come into the house and they sort of spoke to us and used the toilet, and she'd said to them, oh yeah, these are my friends, and the girls who dropped her off, their statements at court, she tried to get them to sort of say, oh yeah, I was a bit worried that these guys were at my house, but these two girls said no. She was like, actually sort of showed us the door. She was keen for us to leave. She wanted to like sort of be alone with these guys, do you know what I mean? Because obviously that we thought, oh, she's okay with them, you know what I mean? We didn't think anything was wrong. We didn't pick up any feeling that there was anything to worry about. We drove off, that was the first sort of like, clue to that this is a load of bullshit. She'd sort of made out in court that she'd arrived home, we were there, she was scared, she was mad. She told the friends like, oh, I want these out of the house, do you know what I mean? She'd expected the friends to come to court and say this and back it up, but when the friends actually wrote a statement and come to court, they totally said the opposite, which is a factor all the way through this trial. Everything she said that happened, she we never called any witnesses to say no, that didn't happen. It were actually the prosecution witnesses that were called, and every time she called somebody, what she'd said in her statements, and she'd made 3 different statements as well, that none of them matched, and none of these 3 statements matched in the court on the stand at the time. Do you know what I mean? So that's 4 different versions of things, and even things I've heard later, 25 years down the line, there's other versions that she's put out there to people saying, no, this happened. Total bullshit. Her friends like come to court and said no, she was like calm, she was unconcerned, she got us to leave the house, and so the start of it was like that.
So hold on, Del, what got you convicted, you believe, that day, and what happened into the courtroom when it all turned around on you?
What got me convicted, what I believe, was that she'd been split with her boyfriend. We didn't know any of this until it come to court and people come and brought statements in, and she called again witnesses. She'd asked the guy to come to court and say that she was a boyfriend, girlfriend. He come to court and said they'd never been boyfriend and girlfriend, they'd never had a relationship. He used her for casual sex, which is what we'd used her for, and I know that's not a good thing, but like I said, you're 20 years old, weren't looking to get married or like have a long-term relationship with this type of girl. It was just sex, do you know what I mean? And as bad as that sounds, that is not rape, and rape was never anybody's intention, and rape never happened. But we did use her for sex. She seemed to be upset about that. That night, we found out later through statements that she'd gone to her boyfriend's house before we met her at her house, and she'd gone to his house and said, I want his relationship to carry on, and he sort of said to her at the door, what relationship? There's no bloody relationship, do you know what I mean? And he told her to like piss off, basically. So she was upset, she'd gone back home, then we'd arrived, and she was already upset, but obviously like she slept with us that night. Again.
But Del, so then that day in the courtroom, when the verdict comes in, what was it, 10-2? 10 was it?
I don't know what.
Majority.
Yeah, I think it was like a majority verdict on the jury. Do you know what I mean? I'd gone through all.
But you had a co-defendant as well.
Yeah, the co-defendant. Like we both, like I said, it wasn't some sort of like what you'd think if you watch porn or something. It wasn't some big
but
freaks.
What happened during that courtroom stuff? Once you got found guilty, what was the explosive scenes in that courtroom?
As soon as the jury come back, like I said, all the evidence throughout all the trial had been like totally pointing to not just that she'd not been raped, but that we were actually telling the truth. Everything she'd said, like to. Again, like I want people to read the book, because I put all the evidence from the courts and the Crown Court and the Royal Courts and everything in there. So if you really, I don't want to like go on and on and on about it on this video, but I want people to read the book, so then you'll know when you read the book that what I'm saying is like totally 100% like the truth. Do you know what I mean? And you'll even like shake your head and think, how the hell does this sort of thing happen? Which is most miscarriages of justice. That's how you'll assume. Like you think, well, how does this happen? It's a backfire of the court system, of the justice system, failing someday, and it shows the aftermath. So after the jury come back and went, Dale, Brendan Hyde, you're guilty of rape, we just absolutely kicked off in the court, tried to escape the Leeds Crown Court. My co-accused like ran over, tried to, they attacked the judge ended up like off his chair, under his chair. You got the group 4 screws running this way. I were in Armley by then, I got the arm, the screws running this way. They like smashed me up, bashed my head in, broke my wrist. Every scene, do you know what I mean? And then I ended up like back at Armley, and then I ended up on the E-Man escapee list up with a cat A's for like 4 months before I got moved.
So the build up, he was in Armley on remand, he was expecting to get him up guilty.
100%, yeah.
So the treatment and the pressure, because I've been in the pressure situations in jail, and I've watched others meant to be like you, some not really like you, that have been found not guilty later on in life. It will be miscarriages of justice, and many men come to jail saying that they never committed the rape and try and come on normal location, Del, which is what you did. You came, but the pressure of it all, you weren't taking a backward step. You knew that what it was, because you've done prison before, you've done robberies and that kind of stuff, so you knew what to expect when you went there. It doesn't make the situation even better. No. Because the screws.
It was only saving grace, Shammy, that I'd been in the nick before. You know what I mean? At least I knew. I'd trod the boards. In a sense, I kind of knew my way around prison. I knew what to expect. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I'd been in for the robberies, I was like a mugger in Leeds. Like robbing people with machetes in Leeds. You know what I mean?
But I used to do that one, Dale. Because when people used to come, when they used to come on the wing for rape, it's very difficult for the population in there to believe that they're not guilty. This is before you're going on trial. Uncle Yami's talking about having a few of them that many men take on as their cooks in the Cat A's and that kind of stuff, knowing full well that they might be rapists and they've been convicted, they haven't got off like you have. But Uncle Yami used to use it against them.
course.
Being a strong arm and enforcer, when I was after mine, I was just saying, well, you're in for that. Like, you got to be paid.
Kind of went the other way, do you know what I mean? Like I said, it disturbed my brain that much. You know, I don't know how many mental breakdowns I had, do you know what I mean? I'm not ashamed to say that I had mental breakdowns because, like I said, but anybody, you know, I dared anyone to go into that situation and come out without being damaged, do you know what I mean? But like, what I use that sort of as a defence, do you know what I mean? But you build up a portcullis, you know, to protect yourself, do you know what I mean, from everybody in there in that sense. And people think, well, yeah, you know, it wasn't like if anybody said to me, like in the early days, people say, what are you in for? I say, oh, you know, I never said it wasn't rape, do you know what I mean?
Don't want to say that.
No, but I'd always say that. I would never like say, oh, I'm in for robbery,
yeah.
and then later they find out. No, I'd always say straight away, yeah, it's rape, mate, but I ain't done it, and you know, like, and but you also know that that's the thing off everybody's lips when they, you know, oh, I ain't done it.
But I would know, like, you know, like, you see certain men, Dale, you know, when you read the case papers, you have a rough idea, but no one's ever certain, right, with these kind of things. Because in my books,
with my case papers, people were certain, I mean, because there were things in it, like I said in the trial, she'd sort of said things like, I'd punched her, you know, I'm like 16 and a half stone, I'd punched her, I'd kicked her, I'd put her in an headlock, I'd kicked her in the back, I'd strangled her, I'd bolted her. You know, we've done all these things, want a mark on her, and this is like not even anybody like from the defence side saying, right, we want an independent surgeon or somebody like examining her. This is the police surgeon examining her, and they're looking to sort of back her up and say, look, look, this.
It's an environment prison, though,
of course,
that convicts you as soon as you come through the
door.
door.
I'm just saying, like from
but they do. They don't. No matter what it is, Dale. That when you come in for charges like this, the schools of thing, they want you to be guilty. They're not really looking at the appeal case, what you've got going for you, and blah blah. But all they're looking at is the here and now that you've been convicted. Right. So you had to deal with all that pressure, and Uncle Yummy really sympathise with that kind of stuff, because say out of like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 rape charges, you know that it's about 2 out of 10 that I would say is not guilty, because it's very hard. Uncle Yummy believes it's very hard to prove rape, and it's also very hard to win an appeal on a rape
very
case.
difficult,
and that is that's with
especially
my life.
when you've like attacked the Crown Court judge who's like been at college and at university with the judges that let me
Why
free.
not leave you in there?
You know, like,
and tell them Dale, about the time. So if you would have gone wrong at the Court of Appeal that day, where would you have been going back to?
So when I was in Liverpool, I come off the, you know, like I said just before I said this, like what I was saying about all the injuries on her, when she was examined by the police surgeon, no injuries whatsoever on her, nothing, not a bruise, not nothing. I just said like 2 people had beat the shit out of her and raped her brutally for 6 hours, not a mark on her, no internal injuries, no physical injuries, no nothing. And, you know, and like I said, when you read the book, you'll see that, you know, what she went and did the night after that. She went out on the town to 2 in.the.morning, drinking and partying in the streets and eating pizza. Not really the actions of a girl that's just been brutally raped by fucking 2 guys. But so when sorry mate, what were you, so
no, but
I got
the content of her and lady, whatever issues, obviously Uncle Yummy wasn't there. You know what it is, the courts have proven that you were innocent. It's as simple as that. That's all I can go on by today. We don't want to we feel sorry for her, if anything. You feel sorry for her still up till today. You want to know why.
I feel sorry for somebody that's gone that way.
But Dale, at the end of the day, they exist. And it's going to happen. You know, there's many men that have done that.
I just forgot your last question though. What?
Yeah, the last question. Yeah, when that day, if you wouldn't have won your appeal,
So
where would you have gone?
So what had happened just before? So I'd been.
So it was touch and go. You don't know whether you're going home. You're already living a nightmare in there.
We were just saying we've just come in a taxi from King's Cross Station in a cab to the Strand on the Royal Courts of Appeal, and we were just sort of saying, I think it's different when you're in that sweatbox, when you're looking through that little window, you know, you're looking through this little square window that everybody's getting on with their lives, and you're heading for, you've got some serious stress and tension going on. Now, like I said, I'm only 21 years of old when this has gone on, so it's a lot on your shoulders, do you know what I mean? Like if this happened to me now, it'd be a different matter, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going back to when I was 21. So I'd been up in Liverpool, I'd finished, I got off the escapee list at Armley. Then as soon as I got off it, I thought, I can get on the wing. They weren't having that, they didn't want me on the wing in Armley. They got me straight out into Liverpool at Walton. So I got shipped up there, and then I was up there about nearly a year, got the appeal, then I come to Brixton, and I was in Brixton. Again, you think, fucking hell, Brixton. You know, but Brixton was good to me, to be honest. You know what I mean? Respect to Brixton Prison and all the lads that were in there, like everybody was sound with me, except for maybe the odd idiot who's an idiot any day of the week. When I come to the court, the IRA had like blown up the Docklands the day I'd like travelled down from Liverpool to Brixton. On the day I got out of the appeal court, the IRA again had put a bomb in the Charing Cross phone box, which is only down the road. So what were going to happen to me just before I left Liverpool, I'd got a slip under my door saying I'd put into, I can't remember what prison I'd have to go to, but I'd just put in for anywhere to try to get closer to my visits from my mum and family and things, and they'd put a slip under the door saying you will be allocated a cell at HMP Wakefield as soon as one's available. So that I'd sat on that for about another few weeks, and then I got the appeal to Brixton. When I left in the morning from Walton to go to Brixton, they'd said to me, you won't come back to Liverpool if your appeal goes wrong after this 5 day. I had a 5-day trial at Brixton. It didn't go 5 days. After 4 days they let me out. They didn't need to go to the 5th day. They'd already decided on 4 days that were bullshit. So, but what had happened if it had gone wrong? Then I was going to Wakefield for 10 and a half years. I would have started my sentence again. They told me that you'd start your sentence again. They could have sentenced me to even more time. So I'd had to sign paperwork to give up maybe the 27 months I'd already spent on remand. So I didn't mind doing that, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I needed it to go to some bigger wigs and bigger judges. I had Lord Stoughton, Sir William McPherson, and Judge Gower. Sir William McPherson, he did the Stephen Lawrence case. Stephen Lawrence had got stabbed to death. Sir William McPherson, he wrote one of the most important documents in law ever written. He was on my bench. He wasn't the biggest judge at the time. It was Lord Stoughton that was on my bench. You know, these massive judges, do you know what I mean? And they're very, very, you know, they're not just like, they haven't just got to the appeal court and the big red wigs on, the big wigs and the red robes for no reason. You know, they've come through, you know, major colleges, major universities. That, you know, they've won a lot of awards in law, and they've studied hard in like very serious, like, you know, like certain chambers in London that are very highly rated. You know, before they've become silks and then before they've been put into the appeal court. So, you know, like I said, you're not going to get any wallies at the Royal Courts of Appeal saying you're free to go. And as Yami says, it's not easy for them to turn over and acquit someone. And again, especially when they've got the pressure of thinking these have like attacked one of our fellow colleagues, really. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, with the Judge Hutchinson at Leeds Crown Court, when he got us back the abandoned sentencing, when we got sent, when the jury had said you're guilty, the abandoned sentencing, like I said, there was a big fight in the courtroom and escapes and the judge off his chair and on the floor. When I come out of the E-Man thing, they got us back for the sentencing, and when he got us back, he spent about an hour slagging me off, you know, saying what animals I were and how much of a disregard I had for the law, and just, you know, and the escape would just proved to him in his mind just what animals I would disregarded. He'd never had a contempt to law in Leeds Crown Court for 30 years like that.
But Del, the question of you would have been going back to Wakefield.
Yeah.
Monster man.
Yeah, because I live in Wakefield. I'm from Salford. I'm born in Salford.
That's the one place that you don't want to be labelled in.
Yeah, no, you
know,
don't.
we know that on Rule 43 disciplines,
already
people that get thrown out of the other cates, they can end up there. There's nothing they can do about it. We know many a big name have ended up there. They're not in for no sexual offences. Yeah. But for a man, touch and go, whether you're going to win your case or not, whether you're not guilty or not guilty, and you're going to end up in Wakefield.
I mean, by then I was a man, like I said, only 21 years old. So, yeah, I think what had happened, I've stated it in the book, you know what I mean, and I'm 100% about this. I don't think I'd have ever come out of prison ever again. I'd have ended up one of them statistics, like a Robert Mosley type of character, where I'd have gone into that fucking Wakefield prison, and I would have took out as many of them people, because I'm not that type of person. And I would have like thought, right, I'm in this position now where I can take out these like kid rapists, people that have done these despicable fucking acts, you know what I mean? And that's what I'd have done, and I don't think I'd have ever come out